Hi, welcome to Season 2 of Bite. This is Tony Tellado.
And so parenting in an apocalypse, it's not the same way that we would do it, you know.
You know how it works. Interviews are usually 2 to 4 minutes long, but sometimes they can be a little longer.
Tony, when you live long enough, all kinds of strange things happen.
You're very right in saying that the Greek heroes were the original superheroes.
In part because of the hopeful nature of Gene's vision, but also because of its message of diversity and inclusion.
The Watch is a new BBC America series based on Terry Pratchett's Discworld novels. Here is the showrunner and creator, Simon Allen.
It had been a series in development based on these particular books for a very, very long time, and it had fallen over and not happened for all the millions of reasons that things don't happen for. And about 5 years ago, the companies that were developing it asked me if I had a take on it. And because it had kind of reached a dead end, we came at it from quite a left field angle. I mean, I love these books, they're extraordinary, but I feel like Terry Pratchett is so present as a narrator and a commentator in his own work that that's a very hard thing, at least for me, to replicate in the medium of television. It's an entirely different medium with entirely different rules and tropes and techniques. So I felt like, firstly, we needed to create a new kind of grammar for a show that would kind of replicate, hopefully, the tone and feel of these books. Secondly, I feel like he wrote in a kind of a spectrum, like the very first book, which is extraordinary, and A Comedy Guards.
Yes.
Is one thing, but then the later book, Night Watch, is very dark and psychological. So it felt like tonally we needed to borrow from those two things. And we had a kind of a logic for this, a diegetic logic for this, which is that he himself wrote in a multiverse. So we sort of said, okay, well, you know, the books will always be fine. They will always be there. Like Raymond Chandler always said, you know, Hollywood cannot wreck those books. They're eternal. And there will always be new iterations of them and new interpretations of them. But for the purposes of our show, we're in a kind of a backwater of the multiverse. So it gave us license to bring a lot of other things into play and to do something, you know, probably pretty radical, actually, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, the casting is first rate. Richard, I loved from Game of Thrones, and his Sam, I love the comedy, and there's pathos about him too. Talk about developing him and plugging Richard into that part.
Well, it was really interesting because the biggest thing about this show for me, and the thing that BBC America responded to, and the thing that sold the show, was actually an emotion, which is that I'm 45 now. When I was 11 years old, I left home, and I was homeless, and I was, I guess in England, we refer to it as a care system kid. I'm not sure what you'd refer to it in America. So family and identity and all of those things have always felt like, they haven't felt like things that I have. I've always felt very rootless, and I've always noticed in others when they have the kind of benefit of a family of some kind and of a sense of roots and belonging. And so I felt like the whole show was about found family and chosen family, and every character in it needed to be that. But there was so with Vimes and with Richard Dormer, where we got to was as we were developing those themes, that idea of this is about a group of people who are in the margins, who find each other and make their way into the center. We talked a lot with AMC and with BBC America about, you know, the AMC male. You know, they'd made a lot of shows where you had Rick Grimes in Walking Dead, you had Don Draper in Mad Men. And we said, look, you know, this is a chance to kind of reinterrogate that. You know, we're always going to have a version of Sam Vimes in the story. Of course, he's an iconic character. He's amazing. But is there a chance to sort of have somebody at the center of the story who is questioning themselves so much that they're wondering why they're at the center of the story and why the story is about them? And Richard really responded to that. He really responded to this idea of a character who can move through all these gears of doubt and of kind of hopelessness and joy and drunkenness and determination, because he's sort of spiraling, he's spinning on the spot as he's trying to figure his way out through the world. And it's also, I think, a story about male self-esteem, right? It's about him rediscovering that, and then learning that actually, you know, the point of his character in this story is to bring everybody else together, and to realize actually he isn't at the center of this world, and that there probably isn't a center of this world that's worth saving. That in fact, whatever passes for the center, which is very corrupt and very wrong, actually is surrounded and besieged by difference and by amazing people that deserve their shot and deserve their place. And Richard really got that, really tapped into it, was really passionate about that. And he wasn't just a captain on screen, he was a captain of that cast. It's such an amazing, diverse cast.
Yes.
And they really were like a company out in Cape Town. It was quite a magical thing to watch this guy do his stuff. He's just unbelievable and iconic, and I adore Richard.
Look for The Watch on BBC America on Sundays. Check your listing. Based on Terry Pratchett's Discworld novels. Here is the showrunner and creator